Gary is feeling Cloyce's nipples, and then Daisy stands up, makes some big proclamation, and then accidentally breaks a wine glass.
Sarah, this can only mean one thing.
Yeah.
Time to go.
Hi, welcome to Above Deck, a Below Deck breakdown podcast. I'm Sarah Goldman, a photographer living in Charleston, South Carolina. With me, as always, is my college roommate and co-host, Kelli.
I'm Kelli Busby, former radio host and executive assistant, coming to you from my home studio in Columbus, Ohio. Together, Sarah and I hosted the Socks with Sandals radio show on my, I just completely moved the script, even though I've said it 1,000 times. Anyway, together, Sarah and I hosted the Socks with Sandals radio show on WFAL in Bowling Green, Ohio, and we are back again this week to discuss Below Deck and our love of all things Bravo. Today, we'll be discussing Below Deck Sailing Yacht Season 5, Episode 8, An Eye for a Decline.
Here's your recap. The crew works to prevent a collision with another sailboat, and Dani and Keith are not getting along. Glenn fires Emma, and Gary attempts to drown his sorrows on the crew night off. Drunken shenanigans lead to a serious injury and a blood-stained couch. Kelli, how many
Sarah,
shackles should we put in the water?
Sarah, 8. 8. This was
Okay.
a good one.
Yeah, it
I need to,
was. All right. Give me 8 shackles in the water.
yes, I thought it was
So
good.
we pick up with the sailboat that's getting too close to Parseval, and Glenn is up. Almost everybody is up. Emma's kind of missing in action. Um, the boat
Poor
is
snail.
dragging, and they're getting close to some rocks. They don't hit Parseval, but they do want to warn
Yeah,
them. So
yeah,
right about this time, Keith comes back with the guests from the nightclub, and Gary tells him, go knock on the window of the other boat and like try to wake them up. And so he's knocking on windows, and someone finally comes up smelling very strongly of weed.
nice.
And Keith in his green screen says, dude, you almost T-boned a $20 million super yacht. Like, let's get moving here. Like,
Yeah,
let's be Johnny on the spot. That was a lot of
right.
excitement for these guests to encounter.
Of all the times for Glenn to honk the horn, Sarah, why didn't he honk the horn? I
This
think
is
this
a
is
good
like the
point.
question on the interwebs. Like everybody's like, isn't there a horn on this thing?
Yeah,
So,
instead Gary's just going to like just
hello,
a little whistle. Hey, hey.
hello.
Um,
So my favorite part though,
mhm.
was the primary taking video of everything. It was just classic. He was just like a proud dad moment kind of thing.
Yeah, I want to
It was
see this
fun.
behind the scenes footage. I want to see like
Yes.
what didn't we see?
Yes.
Also, Davide, this is the reason you don't sleep in the nude right here. Of course, they didn't show him getting
Oh my
up,
God.
but this is exactly why, right?
Well, we've been saying what happens if there's an emergency.
Yeah, totally. So after all this, Dani talks to Keith about her issues that she's having with Daisy and Deanna, and
Yeah.
Keith tries to tell her, don't point fingers, and she's just feeling like he's not on her side.
Keith and Dani are definitely in different stages of life, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So
Hmm.
the next day, Daisy tries yet again to encourage Emma to jump up, help out, do something, like just don't get so in your head about things. And this message is just falling on deaf ears, I think.
I think everything said to Emma is sadly falling on deaf ears. I think her internal voice is just too loud for her to hear anything else.
Mm-hmm,
She's just her own worst enemy right now.
for sure. So Glenn talks to Gary about Emma, and he's finally kind of seeing what Gary has been seeing, and it's just not going to work out with her. Um,
Yeah.
what if she had been the one that was up last night with that near collision? That's a good point.
Yeah.
And so Glenn texts the yacht staffing person about a
He
deckhand.
texts he texts his Norma.
Yeah, his Norma, whoever that is.
So our
His
experience
Norman.
this the Norman. Yes. Oh, that'd be great if their name was Norman.
Yeah.
So our experience this season with Emma has been like when she is on watch, she is asleep. So this could have been really, really bad. And
Yeah.
plus, to be fair, no one has Gary's spidey senses, right? Like
Hmm.
he kind of like sniffed the air and knew something was off. Well, maybe he
Yeah.
smelled them because they were weedy.
Yeah, he may have. He's like,
Wait, what?
that's true.
We have merch. The gift giving season is upon us, and we have you covered. From shirts and hoodies to hats, mugs, and stickers. This shop has everything.
Check out the link in the podcast description or in our Instagram bio.
Yes, 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 yes.
So after breakfast, the guests do water sports, and Gary demonstrates the rope swing for everybody. And
Hmm.
Emma is put in charge of like bringing the rope swing back, like for each
Mm,
guest. This whole scene was so hard to watch.
terrible.
Just,
Terrible.
just terrible. So,
Yeah.
did you hear what Sherry said about Emma's hair?
I wasn't sure I heard what I thought I heard.
I had to rewind it, but she said, like, oh, Sherry, you gonna go in the water? And she said, oh, no, I can't go in this water. Otherwise, my hair will look like your hair, a snarly mess.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought I heard. And I was kind of shocked that she actually said that.
Yeah.
Um, this whole part of the episode was super cringe. And Emma, like watching Emma trying to pull the rope back, the comment, Glenn witnessing everything, Brandon's epic belly flop. I mean, it was
Hmm.
just cringy and uncomfortable.
Yeah, no one can ever do it as good as Gary whenever he demonstrates it. He seems to really swing out there for and hold on for so long and then
Yes.
have a very graceful like jump into the water. I don't know. I mean, obviously he's done it a lot, but
Yes.
the
He
guests are
looks like
not.
Tarzan.
He totally, especially with the hair and everything. So, Dani says that Keith, when he's in uniform, is very mean and rude to her, but he's not, right?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
He's not. And he's just
No.
over her at this situation at this point.
To be fair, I'm over this storyline too. I mean, I love Dani
Hmm.
and I'm just over the storyline. Like, move on.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
go.
I think we're all moving on, unfortunately. So
Hmm.
Emma can't seem to remember how to do anything during the docking, how to tie knots, what to do with a line.
There,
Just,
I'm seriously concerned now for her because this is
yeah.
now she just can't remember. Like, I'm really concerned that something is
Hmm.
going on.
Yeah. Like her brain is not working the way it's supposed to or something.
Yeah.
Did she
I
have a
hope, I mean, I just,
stroke? I don't know. Okay,
yeah,
so the guests depart, and Philip says they were treated just like family and just all around a great trip. Had a good time.
they were such a fun group. And I love how that morning, the guests that went to the club the night before witnessed the near crash with another yacht and probably drank their weight in alcohol were
Hmm.
still awake before the young kids.
Hmm.
I love that. So Sherry, who I love, I went to meet her. She just seems fantastic. Did
Hmm.
you hear her when she was packing? She said, I packed 30 pairs of sunglasses and 50 pairs of shoes. And I was wondering, but how many ball gowns did you pack? Because I think the minimum for a trip like this should be three, don't you think? And at least one musical instrument.
Oh yeah, at least.
Yeah.
How many of these sunglasses and shoes do you think she actually wore? Also, you don't need shoes on the boat, so just saying.
I mean, maybe two pairs of sunglasses,
Yeah,
maybe a pair of shoes. Who
I
knows?
think she needs a little help with her packing skills.
Yes.
So Daisy has a meeting with her stews and she asks them, if they have any comments about how the charter went or any concerns, and nothing to say. Nothing to say from Dani and Dan.
Crickets. Yeah.
And she wants them to be quicker, especially with the decorations. Of course, this is directed at Dani, who does all the
Hmm.
decor. And Daisy can just feel the hatred coming from Dani.
Sarah, I'm not sure why there is so much hate toward Daisy. She's their
Yeah,
boss.
I
She's not
don't
their
know.
friend. I mean, she's cordial with them, but she still has a job to do and to make sure it's done. Like,
Hmm.
I'm confused. Like, she's not their buddy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. She seems like a pretty easygoing boss to me.
And it's not like what she's asking them to do is out of the realm of like normalcy.
Right, yeah.
So
Okay,
it's
the
their
tip
job
meeting.
description.
Exactly. Glenn praises Cloyce on the Sweet 16 charter dinner, and he tells the deck team, they weren't quite firing all on all cylinders, but we'll talk about that later. But they do get a
Mhm.
day off tomorrow, so that's very
Woohoo!
exciting. They're gonna do like some cave exploring, and Glenn's gonna tag along for that because he loves caves. And then they're gonna go to the beach club. And Dani is excited because she will get to hopefully meet up with Anthony, her beach club boyfriend.
I'm excited about them going on a adventure. And of course, to see Anthony too.
Yes, for sure. So Glenn and Gary chat about Emma in the master, and Glenn asks Gary to go and get Emma to bring her back down there. And Gary is feeling very emotional about it.
Hmm.
He's having a hard time even knocking on her door. So Glenn fires her, and she says she doesn't want to talk about it and just walks out. And Glenn says that her defensiveness really shows that she doesn't see her own shortcomings,
Yeah.
and Emma's just feeling humiliated, embarrassed, and Daisy and the Stews are trying to comfort her, but she finally composes herself and goes back down to finish the conversation with Glenn.
This was really hard to watch, and it was hard to see Gary so torn over it. How do you think they handled it?
I think they handled it fine. I mean, I don't think there's any way it could have gone well because she has been so defensive whenever he's
Yeah,
pointed out anything to her this season. I mean,
yeah.
Glenn has had to do this a lot of times,
I know, I
so
know.
I
Yeah,
I don't think there was anything bad about how they handled it.
yeah. I will say if I ever have to be fired, I want it to be by Glenn.
Yeah.
Um, it was also hard to watch because Emma was telling Daisy that she felt like the scapegoat and that Gary is a coward for doing this. And I think I said, "What?" about 20 times.
Yeah, like
Like,
what are you
what are
talking
you
about?
talking about?
Yeah. I
I'm
don't know.
sorry.
Emma is kind of the queen of, I don't know.
What is that? Is that gaslight or that's gaslighting, isn't it?
Maybe,
I
yeah.
get that confused with ghosting. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but she always has an excuse. She always has she always sees the situation another way.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so Emma gets to packing, and Gary calls his mom to kind of talk about his feelings and how the firing went with Emma. And she tells him, if she wasn't doing her job, she had to go. Like she had to go.
Right.
And it's not you. And try not to get too drunk tonight. She knows it.
Ruh-roh. I guess a mom will always and forever know their children.
Yeah. So Emma says goodbye, but not to Gary and not to Keith because Keith is sleeping.
That's weird.
And Captain Glenn calls a quick meeting just to kind of let everybody know about the Emma leaving situation.
So people were sad, but they weren't surprised. At least
Hmm.
that's the feeling I got. I mean, I know they all kind of heard something, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
definitely. Well, I will say Keith was surprised because he had just woken up and he was like, wait, I missed all of this. What happened? But I'm sure he was not surprised in general. Okay, it's time to get ready to go out. And Glenn hears back that the deckhand that he is trying to get can be there in 2 days. So that's exciting.
So I'm wondering, do we think it'll be a return deck person or someone new to the franchise?
I'm hoping it's somebody we've seen before because I love when
Yeah.
they bring back a blast from the past. So
Yeah, that is nice.
we will see. Um, that night, the vibes are just off. Gary goes and orders some tequila for himself, and he's planning to get effed up and just be the life of the party. And Daisy pulls him aside and tells him, don't be so hard on yourself. But he's not
Yeah.
really too interested in talking.
No, and from what we saw, I thought Gary, he was really punishing himself. I
Hmm.
thought Gary was very patient with her. How many times did he show her how to do things,
I know.
explain things in a very calm voice and he was kind. So,
Yeah.
and it's sad because he thinks he did a bad job managing her. It's
Hmm.
rough because he actually did a good job this time. We feel
Yeah, for
bad for
sure.
him.
So back on the boat, we see Glenn doing some of his secret single behaviors. This time it's sucking on a lollipop, putting his feet
With
up.
his feet on the table.
Yeah. So now that everyone is nicely lubricated after dinner, the mood is kind of improving, and Dani learns that Davide is Italian. I thought that was so funny. Wait, what?
What?
Um, Gary is feeling Cloyce's nipples, and then Daisy stands up, makes some big proclamation, and then accidentally breaks a wine glass.
Sarah, this can only mean one thing.
Yeah.
Time to go.
Okay, back to the boat. Everyone is so sloppy and funny. And Keith tells Daisy he doesn't know how that she deals with Dani. And he says there are so many loud, reactive personalities on this boat. I think that's actually the job description that Bravo puts out when they're looking for cast members.
I could have probably been that person about 20 years ago. What do you think? What about you?
I don't know about reactive, but definitely loud.
I was, I feel like working in commercial radio,
Hmm.
you kind of have to be, let's just say not everybody's firing on all. I want to say this nicely, but there's no nice way to say it.
Okay.
Let's just say that I was 23 when I worked in commercial radio, and I was the most mature person on the floor.
Mhm. Okay. I feel like there's probably a lot of immature males in that space.
Yes. Yes. Cheers.
So Keith and Daisy chat, and he tells her she's the one person on the boat that he feels like he can be himself around.
Is it wrong that I am secretly rooting for Keith and Daisy to be more than friends?
I would love this for them. I think they're both kind of in the same place. I think it would be great, and they would look cute together.
Yeah,
Time will
absolutely.
tell. So Gary and Davide are doing shots, and then they start throwing the lollipops at each other. And Gary hits Davide in the eye, and then he's bleeding like all over the white couch, the
Mm.
carpet, and it is bad. And we get yet another to be continued.
And then you hear Danny yell, clean carpet. After she had been, they showed her the whole break, like hand vacuuming the carpet, making it all clean. I did
Yeah,
kind of have a trigger moment. Like I felt like I was 15 again and I spilled something and my mom just found it. I kind of felt like I was in trouble.
yeah, yeah.
Ugh. Well,
Um,
this should be
well,
very interesting.
a lot of white stuff on this boat. I mean, we've had the self-tanner incident. Now we have the eye blood, ocular fluid. Ah,
Okay. Well, on that note, let's take a break and we'll come back for Hot Tub Combo.
it's time for Hot Tub Convo, where we discuss what's happening with our favorite Below Deck cast members.
Bravo Fan Fest was last weekend in Miami. So Captain Sandy, Captain Carrie, and Kate Chastain were there. Chef Ben, Joe Bradley, and Oriana also made appearances. Sarah, did you have Fan Fest FOMO?
I did a little bit. Did you?
Yeah, it was way more like it was like a mini BravoCon. Like
It
it was
definitely
like a
was.
toned down, smaller Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like,
Yeah.
I'm mad that we didn't go.
I know. I'm a little sad that we didn't go. Like, I was like, ugh, why didn't we go? Also, why is it the week before Thanksgiving? That's kind of
That's not
crazy.
cool. Because that, I mean, if the tickets were cheaper for that, the pricing for airfare would have been like
Yeah.
crazy.
I don't know. Or why couldn't it be the same weekend as the Fort Lauderdale boat show and then we just would have gone on down?
Rented a car.
Yeah.
Next time,
Anyway,
next year. Think about it.
yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think there'll be one next year because it'll be BravoCon next year. So
Oh yeah.
I don't
I
know.
gotta
It's gonna be
start
interesting,
saving for
which
that.
we are going.
Yeah.
So Andy Cohen recorded some Watch What Happens Live episodes from Miami, and on
Mhm.
Monday night they had the Yachties and Hotties episode, and Kate, Carrie, and Sandy were all on with folks from Summer House and Southern Charm. And
Cute.
Andy asked the Yachties if there was ever a time for family style meals on a super yacht. Captain Carrie said, sure, for like a beach setup, under the coconut trees. Sure, but not on the yacht. And Andy asked Kate if she would ever consider rekindling her relationship with Chef Ben now that he's called off his engagement. And she
Yeah.
said it would be convenient, but no. I
Why
thought that,
convenient?
well,
Why
convenient because they
convenient?
both live in like Fort Lauderdale. But I mean,
In the same
people will
apartment?
say
Just
it sure it would be convenient because he's the father of my child. Not true, not true.
not
Okay.
true.
So Kate was asked which chief stew on Below Deck was the worst and which was the best. And she said the
Mm.
worst was the one before her and the one after her. So
Okay.
that would be Adrian Gang, who was our first
Okay.
chief stew, season one,
Yeah.
and then Francesca Ruby, who is unforgettable, let's just say.
Okay.
A one, both of them were one season wonders.
Yeah.
But in Adrian's defense, she was a chef and she was like helping get this show going season one, and she was a good villain. So, what can I
Yeah.
say? Captain Sandy said that Chef Mila is hands down the worst crew member she's ever worked with, the one that made those terrible nachos
Yeah.
and was homophobic, amongst other things. So the shot ski was brought out by Joe Bradley and Chef Ben at the end. So that was fun.
That's so fun. I do miss Chef Ben.
Yeah, I do too.
So there was a sneak peek of Below Deck Down Under season 3 at Bravo Fan Fest, and we missed it, but we did get to see it online.
Yeah.
So we do know that Chef Serena will be back along with Harry, which I'm so excited about.
Hmm.
And the preview features Captain Dreamboat in a short robe, one of his many short robes,
Yeah.
like little, um, in the captain's lounge, which I want to go to the captain's lounge. I will
Add
say it
that
does
to
not
your
seem like they're in the North Star boat anymore. It seems like they're on an actual boat now. So,
Yeah, it looks like a different boat. So definitely adding that to our preference sheet. So, Captain Jason shared a personal update last week. He has moved back to Australia for a while to be close to his parents, who are both not doing well with their
oh,
health. And he also shared that he had a mole removed, I think, kind of on his abdomen, and it turned out to be a melanoma. So,
oh,
he's doing okay, just focusing
yeah,
on his parents and his health. And so, we
yeah.
wish him all the best.
Emma did post to Instagram about her departure. Now I am paraphrasing here,
Hmm.
but this is what she said. After time to reflect, I did not handle the situation well. Thankfully, my full outburst directed at Gary wasn't shown, but the things I said were unacceptable. I have since had great conversations with Gary and Keith, and they remain pillars of support for me. That helps explain why Gary was so upset.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, I'm kind of sad we didn't get to see all of that.
I know.
Um, yeah,
But at the same
that's
time, that kind of saved face for her.
yeah, for sure. And she since has posted something else to her stories, and it's kind of the same thing that all these people say when when something is shown that they were behaving badly, like, well, this was a year ago and I've grown so much. And
Right, right.
Kelly,
Here's
I
the
don't, at this
script.
age, I don't grow that much in a year. I'm just gonna throw it out there. But
I
she
mean,
did say
I am who
she
I am.
like went back for some training, like some deckhand training, and she was actually hired on with whatever the organization was to help train more people. So,
Hmm.
people that need a little extra help, I guess. So I'm glad she did go get some more training. So
Oh, that's awesome.
she
Good for her.
apparently,
Well, that means she's serious about it.
yeah, I think so. So I wish her all the best. Everyone really genuinely seemed to like her. She
Yeah.
just wasn't good fit, for
Yeah.
super yacht
And that's
standards.
okay. She
Yeah.
just had to unfortunately find out in front of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
It's time for our segment, Join Me in the Wheelhouse, where we decide who needs to see Captain Glenn for a stern talking to. All right, Sarah, who do you choose this week?
I am going to choose the stoner boat captain for being so nonchalant about dragging to the rocks and almost into a $20 million super yacht. Um, I could choose Dani, but I think she's going to behave a lot worse in later in later episodes this season.
So
So
you're
I'm kind of
reserving it. Okay.
kind of reserving that. But I liked seeing how the crew worked together, like,
Yeah.
that night. And overall, I thought everyone, had a pretty good episode,
Yeah.
except for poor Emma. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Above Deck. Thank you to our team at Hurrdat Media, especially our producer, Jocelyn. Please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to tell a friend, and please rate and review us 5 stars only.
Please follow us on Instagram at abovedeckpod, and you can email us at abovedeckpod@gmail.com. You can watch our episodes on the Hurrdat Media YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm Kelli Busby.
And I'm Sarah Goldman. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you
Happy
next week.
Thanksgiving.